It's the guy, young Montu-Ra, and we're back, kids. You know what time it is. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Much love to everybody out there listening to this. I want you to open up your minds on this episode. We got the full moon in Leo, but we're going to talk about Pluto tapping into Aquarius, as well as being in opposition of this full moon. So we got a lot to break down. Shout out to all my gods and goddesses out there. It's the God, young Montu-Ra, young seer, young sorcerer, young oracle. I'm musician, artist, producer, and DJ. And on today, we got another great one. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in. I want to give a sidebar to I got my first project coming out January 27th, 369, and that's going to be dropping everywhere, and I might even drop it on here. But let's get into it. So today, as I'm recording this, we got the full moon later on this evening. But if you are in the United States, Eastern time, it's going to be at its peak at about 12:54 p.m. PST time. It's going to be 9:54 A if you're on the West Coast, 8:54 P if you are in the UK, and 9:54 PM CEST time. So, we're going to talk about this full moon in Leo. My sun is in Leo. I'm feeling this energy, but I want people to know what's really going on in the depths of our life here. This is going to be game changing. This is going to be era defining astrology talk, because Pluto has been dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius for the past 10 fucking months, and we've been talking about this shit for the past 10 of them. So with this first entrance being around in March 2023 that we talked about, if you've been following me, this is that re-entrance. This is that return. This is that introduction to already understanding, in a sense, because Pluto takes so fucking long to orbit around the sun, about 248 years, give or take. So it spends a ton of time in one sign. So when we're dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius, sorry about that car back there. I'm actually outside recording this, but when we're talking about 248 fucking years for it to orbit around the sun, it's going to spend so much time in one sign. So what does Pluto mean in the sense of being in an Aquarius? We know this eccentric Pluto energy tapped in with Aquarius energy, tapping in with expressing ourselves, but understanding that we actually have to go back down to the underworld to find these different gems, to find these different secrets, to find these different attributes to our life to help us understand who we are and what our meaning and purpose is here on this plane here. And I'm talking personally and collectively. We're going to talk a lot about this shit happening, especially with Aquarius, with this technology, with these cryptos we talked about, with the spirituality, how this is all tapping into us and actually impacting us as a collective. You know what I'm saying? So this represents, I believe this transition for us is going to represent that life that goes unchecked sometimes. Something might be corrupted in us. Something might be, we might have some loose ends that need to be tied. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that we're going to have to deal with, and it's going to be frightening to our egos as well. This is going to be something that I believe is going to help us, but it's going to be a bit scary in the sense of these creepy crawly energies in the underworld that we haven't been tapped into for quite some time. You know what I mean? We're talking and we're going to talk about some history in it, but we're talking 248 years since this. So we're talking French Revolution era. We're talking, this old energy of revolutionize or changing, massive change, massive things coming to the surface. We're tapping back into the underworld, but I do believe there's gold in these underworld heroes, right? These myths of being that protagonist, that we have to face so many fucking fears and we got to reach our treasure. There's gems tapped into this underworld, to the unknown, in a sense, and we have to overcome, we have to win, because we are the hero of our own story. We are the champion of our own realm here, but we have to reclaim of who we are. We have to integrate our old life to our new life to create our new selves, in a sense. And I'm talking about this from personal experience. I actually was thinking about this episode, and I was just taking a walk, and I realized that we have to overcome. But I feel like I'm a bit I knew that I had to make changes a year and a half ago, and I've been tapped into this underworld trying to find my exact purpose, trying to find who I am, and at the same time trying to let it go and knowing that it's going to come. But I knew I had to make a change, and a lot of us do, and we were up to a degree of being secure, having things better in order, not knowing exactly every pinpoint of our lives, but then we say, you know what, something's missing. I gotta go back to the underworld. I gotta go back down this fucking mountain because I left something there. Something ain't sitting right with me, and that's how I was feeling. But I want people to understand this is our lair. We're like the personal dragons, and this being the year of the dragon, we got to tap back into our lair, tap back into our shadow selves, because this is going to help us to awaken us to the power of basically unifying the opposites of ourselves, being able to make some cohesion, to be able to make a fit with the opposite of our outer and inner worlds. But at the same time, when Pluto pulls our focus, when it changes signs, this is something that we're going to be challenged with the complexities of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been tapped into Capricorn energy. We've been talking a lot about Capricorn. We've been talking a lot about just putting in that work, that dedication, that social status, being at the heights of whatever that we're doing. But now I'm saying we're coming back down to find what is that thing that we need to tie up. What is these loose ends that we really need to understand? But this is power that is going to help us to reclaim this certain part of our life, this certain aspect of our mental, this certain aspect of our spiritual. But Pluto has been in Aquarius since about the 20th of this month, and it's going to be there till about September 1st, and it's going to retrograde back again in Capricorn to tie those final loose fucking ends and re-enter Aquarius November 19th, and it's going to stay there till March 8th, 2043. You understand what I'm saying? So this is epic, is because this is something that we're going to get. This is, back in March 2023, that was the first time it got in. Now this is the second time. Now we got to get it right. We got to get everything right by November 19th. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is the halfway point. We talking about this transformation, and we've been talking about this for a year now. But the things that might come up, the abandonment that we might have felt with our families or situations, the neglect, the abuse that we might have experienced from others or even ourselves. These things are coming up that can't be ignored, and we're going to try to tap into them spiritually and psychologically so we can renew ourselves, because this is what's waiting for us in the underworld. I'm not talking about no devilish shit or some bullshit. I'm talking about tapping back into our life, tapping back into our subconscious, tapping back into those areas of our life where we think, you know what, I need to work on this shit. What the fuck am I doing? You understand what I'm saying? And we can all kind of relate to that. But in Aquarius, Pluto is going to reflect the power of the collective as well. So these technological advances that we've been talking about, the crypto, we've been talking about blockchain, we've been talking about AI, all this type of shit is happening. But I don't believe it's going to start until really 2025, 2030. I mean, we can see it now, but this is that evolution of who we are as people. So if we rewind back 248 fucking years ago, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we find the world was in revolt. People demanding that new world order. And I believe they're doing the same thing now. And I do believe this had started, a few years back. But when we go back to 248 years ago, we're talking the American Revolution, the French Revolutions, the Industrial Revolution was in full swing. So this is the fourth industrial revolution, and my in my own beliefs is because we had the dot-com era, we had the trains, the planes. You think about these different revolutions that we had. Now we got this crypto coming in. Now we have these different technologies that we can't see. Now we have robots coming in. We're going to see a lot of that 2025, 2030 and beyond. We're going to see a lot of this because there's this different dynamic of where we know things are changing. Back then, it was probably different in regards to the type of technology or the type of social upheaval. Upheaval. That it could be reckoning to the power of a certain situation back then. But I want people to think of the signs as the style within which the planet does its job. So Aquarius style is to be forward thinking, is to be innovative, is to be detached, is to be a visionary. That's why we call ourselves young seers, because we are visionaries to be able to see. And I know I'm speaking to some out there right now, our spiritual people, we're tapping in even more to help the collective Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, sometimes I don't even want to do this shit because it's like, I'm all about just getting a check, really. I'm just being honest. But at the end of the day, I know this is part of my purpose, is to at least speak the truth and speak my truth to help the collective, regardless of if I actually get anything out of it or not. That is something that I'm having troubles with. Say, you know what, I got to get, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know the Most High is telling me, bro, you got to keep doing this shit. Because at the end of the day, somebody's listening to this, and we got to be here to help people, regardless if we think we get some out of it or not. And we can't even look at life like that. In reality, we can't even look and say, if I don't get nothing out of this, then I ain't going to do it. You know, that's some bullshit I'm telling myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that we all trying to battle. But, you know, Aquarius energy likes to be the outsider anyway, the anti-celebrity type motherfucker. Like, you know, I ain't with that little petty shit type things. That's the type of energy that we're going in. Because it's with this energy, it's like we're almost sitting at the margin and not trying to be the center, because we're looking at the whole, we're looking at the macro, we're not looking at the micro no more. We're expanding our consciousness in this new system that's coming. So we're trying to gain perspective from the issues that we need and that we, you know, actually desire to help us to tap in for us to kind of understand, so we can go back up this hill. So this is like bringing us back to the late 1700s. I feel like, you know, the world seems once again ready for another revolution. You know what I'm saying? So what revolution will this be? You know, what really be in regards to the masses of people? You know, we got a lot of different things happening in Gaza and Palestine and Israel, and shout out to everybody, and we want to send our energy there, but at the same time, it's like, this is part of this energy. This is it. You know what I'm saying? This is part of the energy to say, you know what, fuck this shit. At some point, we just gonna say, you know what, fuck this. I'm about to change my life. Fuck this. I'm about to do what I need to do. And this is what this energy is. So when Pluto starts to settle in Aquarius, this collective tension will mount. You know what I'm saying? Not because the planets make things happen, but because it's just a mirror effect, a part of the story that we're in. This is the part of our story. You know, even in my own personal life, is accepting this story that I'm here on this plane here. And I'm going to do a whole nother episode on life paths and things like that, numerology a bit more, but accepting our purpose, accepting where we are in our lives, because this is that context to where we're trying to reclaim and get back to understanding that we are the hero of our own journey. So what does that have to do with the full moon in Leo? Well, you know what I'm saying? Alongside, you know, Pluto's re-entrance to Aquarius, we have to remember Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign. Leo is a fire sign. So we're coming at like a crossroads, in a sense, a tug of war of this energy. You know, especially with Pluto being there now, this 5-day shift prior to this full moon. This is something that I do believe this opposition is going to be that tension between the collective and the individual. You know, our individual reality of that Leo energy, being the star of the show. You know, I'm going to talk about it, being the star of the show, being our own boss, telling ourselves what to do, not taking shit from nobody. You understand what I'm saying? Being flashy, being confident, and at the same time with this Aquarius energy is saying, no, look at it from a wider point of view. Don't be in the center, be on the outskirts. You know what I'm saying? Stay low key. Get the innovation of our life right, changing our lives. But this is something that this is gonna be something with our ego, and at the same time, it has to be with serving humanity as well. Because this is a cycle that is going to bring, I believe, havoc in our lives, but for the better. You understand what I'm saying? Because the light of this moon will spotlight the depths of Pluto's underworld. And with it, we will get a glimpse of how, you know, our individual illumination can expose the ills that we might be doing or thinking or participating in or seeing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, how do we find this aspect to, or these aspects, or these energies, these transitions, these lights, these codes? How can we make it go together? How can we shine the light on being the best we can be, but at the same time, not accepting the bullshit, even though we might be getting something out of it. And I'm gonna talk another story about that on that, just me saying that. But we can't be naive. Somewhere we got to make this shift work. Somewhere we got to have ourselves being that confident Leo energy, being the star of the show, but at the same time being able to look at everything on a macro level. We got to be able to say, you know what, there's going to be pressure into making these fucking diamonds. We're tapping back into the underworld now. You know what time it is. I ain't going to leave y'all with nothing but the truth. You know what I'm saying? And we could talk astrology all day. And I just appreciate everybody for tapping in. We got this daggone full moon in Leo happening on today. 369 is dropping January 27th. My first project in about 4 years. And make sure you all continue to do your best. And I appreciate everybody for tapping in. It's the God Young Montu-Ra. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.